Hey guys, doing my second video. A lot of people want to know how I use rangers to do such cool things. And rangers, through trial and error, I found you can do some pretty cool things even in BSRP. And the major cool part about them is having them output a Steam ID. And that's just a little checkbox right here. So not only will it tell you how far away something is, it'll also tell you the Steam ID of the person in the beam. Now, why is that cool? Because we can have Wire think about it and say, well, if this Steam ID is in the beam, then I'll let this happen. Anybody else, not happening. So I use it to make doors for myself and quick access doors that I don't have to push a keypad for. Now, you have to understand that you still have to have a keypad on these doors. You can't just make them, you can't just make it so that they don't need a keypad. Or you can make it so they don't need a keypad. You just can't make it so they can't be gone through by anybody else. They have to be able to have a thief come through. This is just to make access easier for you, which makes it so nice. So right now it's outputting a Steam ID, and there's mine. Write it down. Very cool Steam ID. And so we can tell Wire, like, hey, if Steam ID number whatever the hell 02057890 goes in that beam, then we're going to fade the door. This is also a good tutorial for how to wire fading doors. A lot of you probably don't know how to do that. Anything that requires a numpad entry, you can actually use Wire to do that, or you can use Wire to interact with your Wire system. So numpad input allows you to input a signal into your circuit using your numpad, and the numpad output is whenever Wire gets that on signal, it's going to output that key. So if I have a fading door set to the number 3, like this, I push my numpad 3, it disappears. I can also have Wire output the number 3, just like my numpad would. So I can hook a button up to it. Let's see, button. Oh, it's way down here. Button, 1 and a 0. This is from the last tutorial I made, if you've been following. And something I wanted to explain, but I forgot to tell you guys in the basic Wiremod tutorial, is that the way you would normally think you're going to wire something is that I want the signal to go from the button to the numpad, and for some reason Wire just said, no, we are not going to do it that way. We are going to start at the end of the circuit and work backwards. So never try and think about when you're wiring something up, I'm going from here to there. It's I want the input to this to be this. And that took me a long time to really grasp, was the fact that you're starting at the end of the circuit. This is the very last thing in the circuit that's going to happen, and working my way back towards the beginning. So I got my button here. Beep. Why did I say beep? I got so annoyed the last time I said that. So I push my button and the door disappears. Simple as that. Whenever the numpad's getting a 1, it sends out the numpad 3. So it's simple as that. Now I can say, point of fact that I forgot to tell you about, whenever you have a something output words, do you see right here where it says Steam ID string? Anytime words are in a Wiremod circuit, they're not numbers, it's called a string. In other words, I can't have this output that Steam ID unless I have something that's understanding a string. So I could use one of two things. I could use a constant value, which remember I said is a way to interject numbers into a circuit, change it to a string, and then add my Steam ID, which I don't know what it is. Let's see. You get to see everybody that's in the game right now. And there's friendly old broke as a joke. No. Of course not. there's me. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I'm sorry I'm taking so much time in this video to get my Steam ID. There we go. There is my Steam ID. I apologize for making you wait time for me to figure out my Steam ID. I should have done that beforehand. So I've got my Steam ID and I'm interjecting my Steam ID into the circuit. Remember I said it's got to be a string or else it won't understand it. It'll be like, what is this weird number with weird characters in it? So I've got my string, and then I can do a string gate which only understands string, and I say equal. So in other words, remember we talked about logic gates, and as you can see, if A equals B, then it'll output a 1. Right now A is a 0 and B is a 0, so it's saying, oh, they're the same, it's a 1. So until I change 1, it's just going to maintain a 1. So in other words, if the ranger is equal to my Steam ID, then it'll output a 1. So let's go ahead and do that. The ranger, see it's lit up now because it's looking for a string, is the same as broke is a joke Steam ID. And right now the ranger is not reading any Steam ID. See it's blank there? It's outputting a 0. And I will put the input of the numpad to the equals gate. So in other words, if the ranger equals the Steam ID, then 1. And if this is 1, then it'll output the 3. If you can't follow that, I apologize. It kind of sounded sketchy when I was saying it. But basically, that's how it works. It is outputting my Steam ID to the equals gate. The equals gate is saying that the ranger is the same as the value it was given, so it's outputting a 1. And when it outputs a 1, it's sending it to the keypad, and the keypad is pushing 3 on my numpad. And it is that easy. Now you might say to yourself, well, Broke, how do I go through it?